Let the game to how we do that. By the time we do that, I can do that.
This place is very good.
Said I am going to attend the teacher structure interview and not come. First of all, the interview that you were invited for is a volunteer structure, and you know that volunteer structure has no salary base, and you still came. Now that means it shows so much of commitment from your own. Now this is a structure of this program. I'll read it out so we can all hear. After listening to it, you get seated, and then according to the attendance list that you submitted, each person will be called out from that list. Maybe randomly, anyway, anybody will be called out from the list to come in for the interview. It has started, we have started. We are here to do interview, and as long as you are here, it's not a meeting. Once you're done with the interview, you can go. You understand? So please, thank you very much. Now, volunteer teacher recruitment. The aim is strengthening education in Africa by bridging the gap. This is the batch A, and it has a ref, a serial number, which is going to be appearing in so many of the materials they are going to be wearing as volunteers. You're welcome to the meeting volunteer teacher interview of the selected volunteers prior to engagement of qualified hands in the African Children's Education Foundation's drive to bridge the gap between youths of Africa and youths of the world. That is the aim of the organization, bridging the gap. That's why that is the motto, bridging the gap between the youths of Africa and the youths of the world. It is with great pleasure that we are here in Vancouver today across Rivers State, Nigeria. Indeed, many are called and few are chosen. I convey the hearty congratulations of the Executive Board of the African Children's Foundation to you all who are willingly decided to become part, no matter how small, of a fast-paced and dedicated team that works together to provide our beneficiaries with the highest possible level of service and user experience. Speaking further, it is proven that to whom much is given, much is expected, but therefore, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Education through schooling has been a long-serving means of enlightenment and training. In Nigeria, like other African countries, the educational structure in rural areas is the focal point of this program in order to improve and add value to the educational sector. It is worthy of note that there are sufficient talented kids and youth across Africa, and those in rural areas are neither noticed nor recognized due to inappropriate channels or sources to showcase them. In order to easily and quickly identify talented kids, this program has been designed to select and engage interested and qualified volunteers to partner with ACEFGLOBAL in identifying talented kids. This program is structured to engage and monitor sufficient quantity of volunteers to work as teachers in public primary and secondary schools in rural areas around Africa. Problem statement. ACE Foundation has a major objective of bridging the gap, which clearly points towards building a bridge and a channel of education between youths of Africa and youths of the world. ACE Foundation Global aims to create opportunities for talented and gifted African children to learn and develop effectively and efficiently in more appropriate and fertile grounds. The project goals. As we begin the journey of 1,000 miles with just one step, the project aims to solve the impending deficiency of staff due to gross unemployment and increase in the number of truly qualified staff in public schools, among other limitations faced by the African child in the early foundation of stages of education. In Obaniku, Obudu, Cross River State, Nigeria, the problem of staff inadequacy and misappropriation has lingered over, clearly leaving the typical Obaniku Obudu child in public and primary secondary school levels preparing for certificate examinations or further studies undertaught and underprepared for the challenging academic task forthcoming. Fear not. fear of not being successful is in the academic scene has buried countless talents, and ACE Foundation looks directly to revamp academic dominance.
Once more, good morning, students.
Good morning.
I'm Mr. Kingsley Oba. I'll be taking you students on agricultural science.
Okay.
Once more, students, it is believed that before now, or during your junior secondary school days, you students have been taught about the concept of agriculture. You students as well have been hearing people talking about agricultural activities, but might not really get the definition of the concept of agriculture in fullest. So therefore, today, this morning, we'll be looking at the comprehensive definition of the concept agriculture. The word agriculture is derived from two Latin words, agar, which means field, and culture, which explain the meaning of cultivation. If you bring these two words together, it's simply talking about field cultivation. But psychologists, subject teachers like I, people who plan curriculum, look at this definition and say the definition is not comprehensive. They argue by saying if researchers, if scholars are saying that this concept, agriculture, is limited to field cultivation, what about to rear animal? Keeping of animal belongs to which field of study? They debated and brought about the comprehensive definition of the concept agriculture by saying that agriculture is not limited to field cultivation. It goes as far as embracing the keeping of animal for human consumption. That's why today agriculture is comprehensively defined as the cultivation of crops as well as to keep animal for human consumption.
Proceed. No need to write the definition. Proceed.
Okay. So most of the times you see Fulani men, they keep cattle. Even at our homes, we do cultivate crops such as yam, such as beans, such as cassava. We do keep animals, such as goat, poultry, birds. We are into agricultural practices. That's why by definition, I started by saying agriculture is defined as the cultivation of crops as well as to rear animals for human consumption. Having known the definition, let's look at the next step, which is the importance of agriculture. From the definition, we say agriculture is defined as the cultivation of crops. When we cultivate our crops, when we keep our animals, when we harvest them, the first thing is we use those crops as food. Meaning that this subject matter called agriculture provides man with food. So one of the outstanding importance of the concept agriculture is that it provides every human being with food. Again, when we cultivate our crops, such as yam, ranging from 2 to 3 hectares of land, during harvest, we cannot consume crops that are harvested from 2 or 3 hectares of land alone. There's that tendency that we have some to sell, meaning that this great subject matter called agriculture provide man with money. Again, when we rear our cattle, ranging from 3 to 4 groups of cattle, we cannot control that cattle alone. We employ other people who will help us take proper care of these cattle, meaning that this subject matter provides man with employment.
Please, thank you. Move to the next subject, please. Please sit down on the board. Thank you.
Good morning, student.
Good morning. Good morning.
Today I'll be taking you students on mathematics. Before now, you students have been computing numbers. You students have been bringing 2 or more numbers together without really knowing that that process is known as addition of numbers. Therefore, today we'll be looking at addition of numbers. All of you say addition of numbers. By addition of number, we are simply talking about the process of imaging, the process of bringing 2 or more numbers together. For an instance, if you have 5 oranges and the concept addition comes up, it means that you should add an additional oranges to the already oranges you have. More to that, if you go to the market and you price a particular thing and the seller says you should add more money, he's simply saying that you should include additional money to the one you have given to her. That's why I started by definition telling us that addition of number means bringing 2 or more numbers together.
Proceed. Don't always. After explaining, no need to always write it on the chalkboard. Manage your time.
For example, if they say you should add 6 and 3, they are simply asking you to bring these 2 numbers together. Meaning that if you have 6 oranges and they say you should add additional 3 oranges, what we do is you write these oranges like this. This is 6 oranges. They say you should add an addition, you should carry this plus sign. You still write 1, 2, 3. If we count these numbers together, we will have 9. Meaning that 6 plus 3 will give us 9.
Good, thank you very much. Please, you introduce yourself again and you take it back.
Kingsley over from Ranch.
Ranch is not a place.
Okay, I'm Kingsley over from Urban.
Yes. And where? Which ward in Urban?
Which is the word?
Okay. Thank you very much. You can take the one that bar. So we're taking you on economics. And before now, as human beings that exist in a community or society, one cannot just follow his or her arms to see that he will live. At least you have to engage on one or two to see that you provide for yourself and your household. So for that, as the same person, you are going to involve more for production, either in agricultural sector or commercial or subsistence. So our topic today is production. And this production, what is it all about? We say production is the creation of utility to satisfy human wants. And what is utility? That term is utility. We say utility now is the total satisfaction a particular consumer derive after consuming a particular product, that feedback. And as we are going further, and not only creation of goods in the definition of production, but for you to change a raw material into semi-finished goods. How? For instance, now, let me assume that I want to engage in gari production. And you know, gari ordinarily is not it started from the soil. It passed through a process. After harvesting of cassava raw, you peel it, you take it to the milling center, which you process it, you now dry it. From there, you fry it. You now reach the last stage of producing gari. And if we go further now, you are going to understand that these goods there are indeed subdivided into two. Like after the production, the production of that goods, we have the two types of goods. We have the commercial goods and capital goods. What is now commercial goods? Commercial goods have to do with the production of goods as an individual to care for your home, individual or household. And under this one, this commercial goods now, you can see that we have two aspects. We have the durable goods and non-durable goods. And what are these? What is said to be a durable goods? See, durable goods is that kind of goods or type of goods that can last either for more than 1 year. Example, we have chair, we have clothes, we have building, and what have you. Then under the non-durable goods now, those goods that cannot last for more than 1 year. Example, we have our plantain, gari itself, those things that we can produce and consume immediately. It's being classified to be the non-durable goods. Now, if we go further now into the capital goods now, we say the capital good is said to be that kind of goods that are being used to produce another goods. Example, a tailor, a soldier, a seamstress will likely use his machine now, his sewing machine, in production of clothes, so that it can be used for another thing. Another is motorcycle. You can even your cutlass as a farmer. If you don't have what to use to have money, use your cutlass. You go into the field. After working for a particular individual, he paid you. You have what to try to fend for your family. Then we go further again to the next subject, which is tourism. Before we existed today, before our forefathers were born, tourism has been existing. Now, what is tourism? According to the WHO, we say tourism is the movement of people from their usual environment. What is now usual environment? Where you are born, where you are coming from, to another destination for tourism-related activities. But for instance, I happen to travel from Okio, where I'm coming from, to Budu, for a particular purpose under tourism industry. I am now leaving my usual environment to where I have not been before, but for a particular set goal. I've been determined by myself. Now if you go now, you see that we have the types of tourism now. One is domestic tourism, and two, international tourism. What is now domestic tourism? Domestic tourism is that kind of tourism or type of tourism that one has to travel within his particular environment. We are not going to travel out of Nigeria. If I travel from Cross River to Lagos, Cross River to Abuja, Cross River to Ibadan, I am not operating on what? Domestic tourism. Now, for instance, the last time, like some student came from Ukari for tourism activities in my community. That one is clear, typical example of domestic tourism because they did not travel out of Nigeria. They now came within and exist for a particular purpose, and it was successfully achieved by them. Now, under the international now, it's just opposite of the domestic tourism, the movement of a tourist or a traveler from his country to another country. And in this boat now, you see that the forms of tourism now, under this we have the eco-tourism. You have the religion tourism. You have the sport tourism. You have the education, institutional tourism. Now, under the eco-tourism, for example, have the Obudukatu Ranch. It's a conducive environment that when one travel there, there's a purpose, and before one embark on this forms of tourism, there's what we call attraction, because I cannot just move to a particular place because I've heard of it. The first thing that has to come to my mind as a tourist is what we call attraction, because I will be motivated from the information I have gotten about a particular place, which is being embodied by all these forms of tourism. Before I can move now to Obudukatu, because I know Obudukatu is an uncontaminated eco area, that is the area that is free from diseases.
Hold on, Mr. Abwa.
Sir,
hold on, please. Can you talk the history? Like mostly, what we are talking about is African history. Mostly it's going to be history of your place, history of your local government, history of your state, history of your country. That's what you're going to be teaching your students, not history of China. History of your people. Can you comfortably handle that as a subject?
yes, sir.
Okay, you can teach history and subject.
Yeah, I've not taught before. But
yes, I understand. Like you can tell your students antecedents of your people.
yeah.
Okay. Can you handle activities, extracurricular activities as a volunteer? Extracurricular activities like
I've been doing.
Okay, you have been in.
Yes, my secondary school I teach.
Okay, you also teach as a volunteer also. Okay, that's good. Try to teach us history. Tell us a little about your place. This is about your place. Like you were saying in tourism that people came from Ukari to tour your place.
Yes.
You were an observer. So you should understand why they came.
Yeah.
Yes, now you say something like history of your place, like trace your place back to 5 years, or 6 years, or 10 years. Just a brief, just brief us.
Okay.
So we can also.
According to what you have said,
Yes.
I'm from a Okiro community where women is different from men.
Okay, our community, yes.
Yes.
So, where, Gary,
And not only that.
Start with
Okay.
this.
My name is Abba Emmanuel.
Yeah.
I want to tell you a brief history about my community where I come from.
Okay.
I'm from Okiro community in particular, in the local government, where women speak different from the men.
Okay.
Before now, if a child is given birth to or born, either male or female, that child begins with a female tune or language. As the male child comes up, he begins to deviate to the male language, but we understand each other. And the same community is where we have the footprints of God at the mountain called Ophiodium. And also we have a cave that have been attracting international bodies like from 2004, people came from Canada, from England also, and just want to observe and to see, and to also learn from the language as they have heard on net that really, if really such thing is existing. And not only that, our community is a unique community that we don't say, if you are not from there, you come today, you have authority more than the indigent. That's the community where I come from. And also, we have a tradition called equal society, that only the male are initiated into it. But if as a man you are not being initiated into it, you are bound from seeing it, because if you dare try it, that's the end of the life. The female don't dare it. And also there are many of them that if as you start every 10 years, it should not be exhausted. So that's the little I can for now tell you about my community.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abba. The board. You were facing the board. And I think when you are talking to an audience or you are writing with the board, you stand beside it so that your audience or your pupils or students can actually get what you are doing. And you can also watch them, because so many of them play while you are doing something serious. So when you stand by the side, you can easily catch up with them. So
Also to put this together, the job of management. And take a look at what is there. It's only you yourself that can read it. In case you were teaching a primary 1 or 2 people and you happen to write that on tourism, instead of copying the notes, they will now draw what you write. So you will improve on that. Thank you.
No problem.
Go to the board. Yes, write any subject of your choice that you can handle. You are going to take 2 subjects and teachers.
Good morning, class. My name is Untitled. I'm a new analyst teacher. The topic of the talk is inequality. Before now, you're familiar with some science in mathematics as well. Therefore, what is inequality? Inequality simply means the relationship between 2 quantities, showing that or indicating that they might be strictly equal or not equal to another. Example, we have various signs in mathematical symbols, but we are going to use basically some regarding to inequality. Like we have signs like less than sign. This is known as strictly less than in inequality, and we have also this sign which is strictly greater than, and we also have a sign like this in inequality. This is less than or equal to, because you might be confused by misusing these signs in inequality. Therefore, I started by saying inequality is the relationship between 2 quantities, showing that they might be strictly in the sense that this sign here is open, there is no bound. This first sound, there is no bound. Example, we have 3x is plus, let's say 1 is greater than 2. This sign here is open, greater than, there is no bound, it's loose. Therefore, we also have problem involved in inequality, which is solving problems
in inequality involving one variable. Why is it one variable? Just S alone. It is one variable because we have just one letter, which is S. Now let's solve this problem. Solution. We have 3x plus 1 greater than 2 in our normal equation that we all know. Solving equation means we are going to look for the variable here. We have 3x plus 1, which is greater than 2. Our main problem is to find x. Therefore, previously we normally say 1 will cross over. It is not like 1 crossing over because it does not have leg. We simply subtract both sides by 1, which is 3x plus 1 greater than 2, subtracting both sides from the left hand side and the right hand side. We have two sides here. The first, the left hand side when you are facing the board, this is the left hand side and the right hand side. We have 3x, 1 minus 1 is 0, which is greater than 2 minus 1, which is 1. Therefore, we want to eliminate this coefficient, this x coefficient, to let x stand alone. Therefore, we divide both sides by 3. Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Now, therefore, our variable x is now greater than, and we also have problems, solving problem in inequality involving 2 variables. Where is it 2?
Excuse me, sir. Let me see that. Where we have, that is, after solution, we have step 1, step 2, we have 3x plus 1 is it minus or I see greater than, and it's not clearly written there.
To eliminate this 1 from here, 1 x stand alone. So we do subtraction, subtract 1 from both sides, which therefore our x is now greater than 1/3. Therefore, we have problems involving 2 variables, which is 2 variables in the sense that we have x and y. For example, we have 2x plus 3, let's say, greater than 4. Now, we want to find, first of all, look for x. When we are looking for x, we let for x, we let our y variable equal to 0. So that why is it 0? We all know that anything by 0 is gone, is 0. Is that clear? 2x plus 3 equal to 0 greater than 4. 2x plus 3 times 0 is 0. We have 2x, so this is already gone, 4. Therefore, x, now we want to eliminate the variable, the coefficient of x. 2 is the coefficient of x. By eliminating 2, we say subtract, it will not go. Therefore, we are going to divide both sides by the coefficient of x so that x variable will stand alone. Therefore, we divide both sides by 2. Now, our x is 2. Now, when we are looking for finding y, we also let variable x equals 0. Why? So that we do away with x. Is that clear? We let x equals 0, which is 2, 0 plus 3y greater than 4. This one is 0. we have 3y greater than 4. We want to eliminate the coefficient of y by dividing both sides by 3, so that y will be left alone. X greater than 4, 3, 3. We can also,
Remember, you have another subject to handle.
last subject, let's, yeah,
Do you handle only mathematics?
yes sir, yes sir.
That's only maths is your special subject. It's a key subject though. Can you teach it in more than one institution? Like in more than one, where do you stay?
Okay.
Okay, or that's where you stay.
Sure.
Can you teach it in more than one school? Like in government secondary school or government nomadic secondary school or Kiro, and then community secondary school Uban?
Yes.
Okay, you know that's very close.
But now I don't do so because of farm work.
Okay, yeah, you do farm work. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so what is the time that you always have to be in school? Because in this structure, you would have to monitor your progress and see how well your teaching impacts on the children. You don't just have to be taken to teach. We need to see you teaching and make sure that what you're doing is impacting, because we are out to impact. You understand? So your teaching has to make meaning in collaboration with the reason why this program was developed. So that's the reason why I'm asking you this.
Yeah.
So that I know that you do farm work. Yes, it is normal. But for now, can you teach mathematics? Because you're going to handle just one subject, because you say that's what you want to teach. Others will teach 2 subjects. So teaching mathematics alone, you'd have to also get the same number of periods per week as other volunteers. It may be split into more than one school around your vicinity, because there's community development service. The program is flexible. You have to be functioning in more than one capacity. Do you understand? So that's the reason why I'm asking you this, so you get the point. It's not as if I said you should stop farm work. But if you are to combine it, if you can combine teaching mathematics in nomadic, you see, I gave you 2 very near schools, nomadic and urban. They are very close. We have assessed that area. So I feel like it's very close from there to your house. You can actually operate in both schools, teaching mathematics only as a volunteer in our structure. I don't know whether you understand me. So that is why I am asking you. So can you handle mathematics in those 2 schools? We are going to give you the same number. We are not going to kill you with work. There are going to be designated periods for every volunteer to teach. You are a volunteer in an independent structure. You understand? So we are going to monitor to find out. So let us not come there to monitor and see you that you are not there, you went to farm. That now becomes a disadvantage to you, because it may not be me in the monitoring team. It may be somebody that you are not seeing here. And when once it's there in your PPA and you are not there, then that means asterisk is marked. You get it? So that's why I am asking to know. I can combine it, then you have to reschedule your activities. You understand? So I don't know, can you?
Yes, officially that's Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Officially, but the really 2 days is basically evening. I know I have to come back during the day for evening lessons.
They come?
Yes.
They come back for evening lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesday, Thursdays.
Okay, no problem. So the days, no problem. So you can actually handle them properly in those 2 schools. But you have Omokiro, you can teach the day during the day in Ubang, and in the evening you teach in Okiro. It's still the same thing. You can be flexible with hours. It's not always school hours. So if you can handle that, then no problem. Thank you. You are done with teaching. Or is there any question?
Yes, let me just put mathematics so well in private secondary school. Whenever my teacher is teaching, like the example you use 2 ways to solve them. My teacher used to say in mathematics you can escape through the window, through the door, or through the ceiling. So what if you use like two methods or 2 ways to solve a problem? That if a student cannot get one, the other one, he or she can understand the other one and use it. Can you do that?
Yes, that is very, very correct. If the steps are okay and the final answer goes well.
So you can assure us that when you have a problem like this, you can devise 2 ways to solve the problem.
Yes, very sure.
It's okay.
Thank you.
No problem. What's your name again?
Abu
Abapayo.
Sorry,
No, we're going to now. Let's observe what at least we have
Good day, class.
Good day, ma.
Okay. For those of you that don't know me, I am Shiam Sophie, a biology teacher. As you can see, the subject on the board is biology, and the topic is living things. I don't think there is any need for all of us to introduce ourselves based on the time limit. So I'm sorry about that. That can be done after the class. So on today's date is 17th 2021. So when we are talking about living things, what comes to your mind? When you hear somebody say living things, can anybody tell me what used to come to your mind when you hear living things? Okay, he said when he hear living things, they are talking about animals.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Things that have life in them.
Oh, clap for him. That's good. Things that have life in them. That's a good one. So actually, living things are those things that have life in them. They can be animal, like he has just rightly said. They can, like I am standing, I'm a living thing, you're a living thing. And sometimes we ask ourselves, is it only animal and human being that are living things? It's not actually like that. These trees are actually living things because if there is no life in them, you see them go dry. Their leaves fall and if they turn to firewood. So in that case, there is no longer life in them. So there we are going to define living things as those things that have life in them. So I will define it and you repeat after me. All of you say living things.
Living things.
Living things.
Living things.
Are those things that have life in them.
Are those things that have life in them.
Living things are those things that have life in them.
Living things are those things that have life in them.
Yes, that is living things. Like I have earlier said, example, you can just give a common example of living things to be animal, human being. The trees are living because once dry, they turn to firewood. They are no longer living again. The stones are no longer living, they are not living things. The sounds are not living things. So the only way you can differentiate between, like, here we are in this hall, these things, the fan, for the fact that it's giving us air does not make it a living thing. These ions, they are not living things. The only living things that are found in this hall are those of us seated, breathing, talking, and maybe drinking water just as we are doing. I hope you understand what I've rightly said. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Period for biology is off. Any question?
Any question?
If you don't ask me a question, I'll ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What are the characteristics?
The characteristics of living things.
Yes.
That is, after this, that was supposed to be our next lesson. Today is just for us to know the meaning of living things. But to let you, give you guidelines, if maybe when you go home as you're reading, the characteristics of living things, they are those, once you see something, in fact, leave it. Next class. Thank you very much. Any other question? Okay. Period for biology is off. We are going to go to computer studies. Computer science. Oh. Class, what do we have on the board? What's the topic? Okay, all of us, I'm very sure that we are using computer. It's that we are using the laptop, it's that we are using phones, or whichever one you're using. So who can tell me what computer is, what it means, or what you can define it to be?
Computer is like a television. I can watch it.
Clap for him. That is his own understanding about computer. He says it's like a television that we can watch film. That is how you understand it to be. Another person.
Computer is an electronic device that processes inputs and outputs.
Clap for him. He has just finished the OT. Computer is an electronic device that accepts, in fact, that process, imputes. The thing does a lot of things. Computer imputes, computer send out, computer accepts, computer types, computer store your information. That is what computer is. Like I earlier said, the one that is we are often using is the laptop. The laptop is a computer. It's a system that you can save your information. You use it to type, you use it to store, you use it to even print out. There is commonly said garbage in, garbage out. Is all about computer. That is what computer is all about. An electronic machine that help you process an information. It processes, prints it, whatever you put into the computer. Even if you are saving it, it has the capacity to save it. If you are printing it, it can still print it for you. That is all about computer. Any question?
Thank you very much. Let me ask you.
Okay.
You see computer is any device that you see information, analyze it, and put data. Because as a human being, if you want to ask me a question, I have to think over it.
Yes.
Process it within me and give out the answer. Does that make me computer?
No, but you discover that if you put an information in the system doesn't waste time to think about it like you does.
That is why they say it is an electronic device.
Yes.
Since you are not electronic,
You are not electronic, so that doesn't make you a
Go on
computer.
research. It will not go on research.
Good morning, class.
Good morning.
All right. Well, today we are going to teach mathematics. So,
that's not clear enough. There's another marker.
Yes, I think it's okay.
Okay, continue.
Alright. Today we are going to talk about subtraction. I don't know if any of you, though, might be doing this at home, but don't know that it's subtraction. For example, now, if you are giving maybe 2 exercise book, or somebody gave me 2 exercise book, if you take away 1 from it, it's left with 1. That's what we call subtraction. Are you in the class?
Yes, we do.
So when we talk about subtraction, it's just, like I said, is maybe the takeaway of figures. For example, now, if you are giving maybe from 1 to 3 and thereabout. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the board. If I minus 1 from here, it will be left with how many classes?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Alright. In total, the numbers are 6. So if you minus 1 out of it, it will be left with 5. So that's what we call subtraction. Are you with class? Alright. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying here. Do you understand me? That's what we call subtraction. So, let me say, if you want to, let me give an example. Let me say we have 5 minus 3, 6 minus 1, 7 minus, let me say 2, 10 minus 3. Are you in class? As I was saying, we want to talk about subtraction. Like here we have 5 and we have 5 minus 3. Who can answer this question for me? We have 5 minus 3. What will be the remaining figure on it? 5 take away 3. 2. Alright. We have here 6 take away 1. Sorry, I'm using the word take away. No, it's our normal one that is understandable. We have here, when we subtract 1 out of 6, we have 5. 2 out of 7, we have 5 still. 10 take away 3, we have 7. Are you in class?
Yes, sir.
Alright. So far so good. Can anyone make attempt? If I set any example or give a classwork, can somebody attend to it?
Yes.
From what we have at least done. Alright. So, notwithstanding, that will be the end of our class for today.
We move to the next subject. You're supposed to teach 2 subjects. Use a duster there and move to the next subject. Okay, that's all for maths, right?
Yes.
Yeah, move to the next subject.
Good morning, class. Well, today our topic will be, we are going to take government today. So, I don't know, before we introduce my topic, I would like to ask some questions.
Okay.
I believe all of us here are up to 18 years.
Of course.
Yes.
Well, you may be teaching a class that's less than 18.
Like less than 18?
Yes, you may be teaching just 2, which is you have people that are less than 18. Just 1. You may be teaching primary 4.
Just 9, 10.
So that's
Alright.
continue. This is SS1.
Alright.
So,
I know it's someone is
He's using his class. His class.
SS1.
Yeah, his
So let's
class.
assume that this is SS1, which is
So,
this class.
I don't know which of us here might be have voted or have been voting before now.
Okay.
As in vote maybe in our previous
During
you voted which election?
During the last senatorial by-election, Cross River North.
Alright. Which of the election?
The last by-election, senatorial by-election.
Thank you. That will lead us to our today's topic, which is franchise. So, class, franchise can be said, is defined as the right of an individual or an adult to be voted and be voted for into a political position. Like you said, in the election, our, should I say, the PDP or APC flag bearer that was a flag bearer of the political party did, should I say, participate or did his own franchise as a citizen of this country by taking the leadership of taking a mountain of leadership to rule the people. So you, on your other side, you did your own, or you perform your own franchise by going to vote for him. So that's what we call franchise. It's a process of an individual voting and be voted for who is up to the age of 18. Are you in class?
Yes, we are with you. No need to write it there. Let's proceed. Expand this topic.
Alright. We have under franchise, we have limited and unlimited franchise. Alright. When we talk about limited franchise,
You can put that down. Those are normal types.
yes.
No, calm down. Express yourself. You understand? We want you to express yourself.
So class, I hope all of you are looking about.
Yes.
We have limited and unlimited franchise. When we talk about limited and unlimited franchise, the limited franchise here is, should I say, can be said to maybe like in our country now, we have so many, should I say, refugees that are not from Nigeria that reside here now. So when you come to in this aspect we are talking about, once you are a bona fide member of a particular country, or let me say a given society, when I say bona fide, born and brought up, your lineage is from here, your mom, your dad, everybody's here. You are, should I say, once when you are, what you are doing is limited franchise. Sorry, unlimited franchise. Okay. You have the right to do whatever thing you are doing in a particular country. When it comes to franchise, the right to be voted, the right to vote and be voted for. So, when we talk about unlimited franchise here, you have the political rights whatsoever. Nobody can come and maybe challenge you, maybe to say you are coming for this particular position. This was your background, or this was what you did. You are not a member of this country. You are outside of that. You are a full member of a particular country and have all the rights to be voted for. So when we talk about limited, sorry class, are you with me?
Yes,
I'm with you.
Alright. When we talk about limited franchise, this is a process whereby an individual don't have the right, the right to be voted or to be voted for is not there, but maybe get maybe from though in Nigeria or in other countries there are limited of times you can stay in a particular country and you'll be
Eligible to vote.
yes. So that's where the limited franchise comes in. And when you are voted, there are limits to what you can do. When we come to the political wings, there are limits to what you can do. You don't have access compared to the person who is unlimited. that has a biological background right in a country, you have no right compared to the person. Thank you, class. Are you with me?
Yes.
Are you with me, class? So if I say you should explain one of the maybe the types, can anybody explain for me?
Yes, but before we go, maybe I have a question.
Alright, sir.
Yes, with regards to the explanation of the types of franchise, for the Nigerian franchise, what is the number of years that somebody can stay in Nigeria? Let's say, for an example, Nigeria is our country.
Okay.
The number of years that you can stay in a particular society to become an indigent and have rights to vote.
Alright, let's say 10 years.
Okay, are we saying or that?
Are we saying 10 years?
10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Can you teach any other subject apart from government and mathematics? Like tourism?
I can take civic
Education?
Yes.
Okay, good. There's something I want to point out. It's certainty in delivery of your lesson. It's a major point. As a teacher, if you want to get out your message, you have to be certain about what you're telling the students. You don't try to understand the topic in class. Your students will definitely not understand and you'll be wasting that time in class. So before you come, if you knew that you're going to take franchise, I believe that maybe you would have done a proofreading of what you want to say and say it to yourself before coming down to the class. Now we are talking about a class setting. If you are going to a class, you should be able to prepare before going to the class so that you don't get to the class and try to prepare in the class. Okay, because saying, can I just say, that is, and all those, it is showing clearly that you were not prepared for this particular topic. That's what I was asking, if you have any other subject that you can, okay, you see this room, you're seeing us, yeah, we are all teachers, trained teachers. So that's the reason why we assembled it to be like this, so that we can interact and improve. You understand?
Yeah.
It is just a matter that we need to improve so that it can be easy for us to do our work. That's what we are saying. You work. And when you're doing the work, we don't want it to be a situation where you go there and make some little mistakes that we did not point out. After all, we did not point it out. Nobody knows everything. We point out these things for ourselves. So civic education, you can teach civic education. You'll be provided with materials. You will not be required to teach from inside your brain. Research is a major factor in whatever we are doing. We are going to be taking research. So I believe that your composure is good, your expression is good, your English is good. It shows that you're a teacher because you carry the class along and so on, but you have to work on mastery of topic and subject areas before you get into the class. Yes, okay, so somebody else go.
Thank you very much. You deserve an applaud. Can we give him a round of applause? The use of chalkboard there, yes, you can see you yourself stand and look at how you write on the chalkboard. It's good. You need to improve on that. You need to improve on that. Then, when you are dealing with children in your class, you don't presume what they know. You ask questions, relevant questions to find out actually whether they have the knowledge of what you are about saying or not. That is test of entry behavior. Apart from that, when you came to a point, you say, if I ask you to do this, will you be able to? You are presuming. What you do as a teacher is, if you know that you are done with your topic and you want to evaluate. Give a question direct. Just ask a question. You can evaluate your lesson during the teaching period or at the end of the lesson you can evaluate. That is to show mastery of the subject matter by the instructor and to show how well the children also follow the teacher in their course of the lesson. Let people believe that after here you still do some research and improve on your teaching skills so that you go out there and deliver very well. Thank you very much.
Where is your location? Where do you stay?
My base in Sampala.
Okay, Sampala. Okay, you see your education. So thank you for today.
Alright.
While you're outside, don't go, please. Just stay. When you go, just be there. We'll call you in now very soon. to say what we have to say before we leave. You can see that we'll leave here before 1 o'clock.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, sir.
I'm Iko Ferdinand, your English teacher.
English.
Last time we discussed, or all of us are aware or familiar with the word pronoun and nouns as being used. The last time we had, we said pronouns and words are used in place of noun in a sentence. Today, we're going to discuss preposition. 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 We say preposition can simply be defined as the words that help to show the relationship between a noun and a pronoun in a sentence. Those words can be used to show a spread relationship between nouns, pronouns, and other words in a sentence as well. And in a nutshell, we will say that this preposition can be used and we have been using them on our daily basis. Sometimes we use them ignorantly. We don't even know that these are words, these things are useful, they are very important to us, and we should be mindful the way we are using them in our environment. For instance now, example of a preposition where we have a word like in, we have on, we have under as some of the examples of the preposition. In English language, we have up to 23 prepositions, but at this level where we have to learn them a little of these so that we do not get ourselves confused. We take them bit by bit. So, when you have a word like in, example we say, assuming we have a bucket or a plastic bucket and we have a cup that we use to fetch water, dip into the bucket and fetch water. And it happens that the bucket or the bucket is empty. We can just put in the cup there and you are in search of this cup. Somebody will come across and say the cup is inside the bucket. That is, it is inside the bucket. You have used a prepositional word there, and which is in. And you can easily say that the cup is on the bucket. That is, when the water is filled and it's being covered, and you can put the cup up the bucket. So now say it is on the bucket. Now, let's assume you are using a book, a textbook. You are looking for it in your house, and it fell under the table. You can easily say the textbook or the book is under the table. That is what we have there as preposition. There are lots of these prepositional words, but we don't have time to bother to just be studying them at randomly. We have to take them bit by bit. We can also have a prepositional word like over. Over. You cross over, the boy crossed the road over to the next side, or you jumped over a particular place. Then you have